Okay, today we're gonna present a object-oriented model in software development lifecycle. Our group consists of me, Cheng Chen Xiang, Lu Xing Guang, and Hua Pei Lu. Here is the object-oriented model. Is the intensive reuse of software components. Integration of existing software module either is object of component into newly developed software system. Software components library serve this purpose by supplying software component for reuse. Okay, here is the software development lifecycle object-oriented model. The development process start with requirement definition, and then it come to object-oriented analysis. The next step is object-oriented design. Then after all the analysis and design done, you will check the reusability survey of component library. If the component is available in the library, it will straight come to system construction. After the system is done, then the QA will test the system before it's hand out to customer. If the customer accept the system, then we will install and configure in the client side, and the system will be in operation and maintenance stage. Else, if the component is unavailable in the library, then we have to create the component. First we come to requirement definition, and then analysis and design, and then coding and component testing. After we done with the component, and we will add to the library for the usage of the use. Okay, after the testing, after done the component, we will do the system construction. After the construction, we will test the system and then hand out to customer. Okay, the same process will be the same. If the customer accept it, then we will install it on the client side, and the system will be on operation and maintenance stage. If the customer does not accept the system, then we have to redo the object-oriented analysis and the design. Okay, there are three microprocesses of OOM in SDLC. The first one is object-oriented analysis. The second one is object-oriented design. The third one is object-oriented implementation. What is object-oriented analysis? Object-oriented analysis is to determine the system requirement. Besides that, is identifying relevant classes and their relationship with other classes. Create a model of system functional requirement that is independent of implementation constraints. Organize requirement around object which integrate both behavior and state after real-world object. The primary task in object-oriented analysis is find the object, organize the object, describe how the object interact, define the behavior of the object, and define the internal of the objects.
Okay, so next we'll talk about the object-oriented design. This stage actually comes after the object-oriented analysis stage. The goal of this stage is to redecorate and redesign the classes that has been identified during the OOA stage. The developer will apply the implementation constraint to the model which has been produced during the OOA. This implementation constraint is not being stressed in during the OOA stage. For example, some of the implementation constraints will be hardware, software platform, performance requirement, persistent storage, budget, time, etc. Besides that, this stage also identify and define additional objects and classes that can support the implementation of the requirement. The developer can apply architectural patterns and design patterns with object-oriented design principle at this particular stage. In this particular slide, we will discuss some steps that has been implemented in the OO design. First, we can design and refine the classes, and next we have to design and refine the attributes of the classes, such as the variable, instant variable, and local variable. And after that, we'll go to design and redecorate the methods, or the public protected methods that serve as the business logic of the object-oriented model. And after that, we will go to the structure of the object model. We have to define which one is at the higher hierarchy and which one is at the lower. And then the final stage, we will refine the association between all the classes. Okay, in this slide, we have provided you all regarding some of the rule of thumbs. In OO modeling design, we stress in reuse rather than rebuild a new classes, which is very time consuming. And next, we advise the developer to design a large number of simple classes instead of small number of complex classes, as defining simple classes is easier to be understood by all, especially the stakeholder. And lastly, we have to design the methods. For the object-oriented implementation, we cover two different ways of implementation, which is the prototyping and also the component-based incremental development. There are 4 different types of prototyping types. The first one is horizontal prototype, which stresses the simulation of the interface. Basically, interface is regarding the user interface, the whole flow of how a system can be used by a user. Okay, from the start page to the home page to the business logic page and to the lockout page. During this, for this horizontal prototype, we do not stress in anything regarding the functionality. And next is the vertical prototype, which only stresses in the functionality but not the user interface. For the analysis prototype, it is to help in exploring the problem domain. This is not being used for the final ultimate prototype. This is just to get some rough idea regarding the problem that exists in the current prototype. And the last one is domain prototype. This prototype is to help in incremental development for the solution, which is a contribution to the final ultimate solution of the product. Next, we will talk a bit regarding the component-based incremental development. So OOM stress in reusing prefabricated component. So firstly, we will just search on the library, object library, and component-based component library to see whether we can get any prefabricated component that can be used in our project. If yes, we will just straight away use the prefabricated component into our project and integrate it. If not, we will go through another SDL, system development lifecycle, to build a reusable component to be used in the project and put it into our library for the next project.
So this is the advantages of using object-oriented model. The first is economy. The cost of integrating a reusable software component is much lower than the cost of developing a new component. The second is improved quality. Used software components are expected to contain considerably fewer defects than newly developed software components due to detection of faults by former users. The third is shorter development time. The integration of reusable software components reduces scheduling pressure. The next, I will present the disadvantages of using object-oriented model. The first is, while Scout object-oriented corporate systems are still unproved and many bread and butter information applications. The second is, object-oriented development is not a technology. Although many advocates are religious in their fervor for object-oriented system, remember that all the HOOPLA is directed at the object-oriented approach to problem solving and not to any specific technology. The third is, Object-oriented development is not yet completely accepted by major vendors. Object-oriented development has gained some market respectability, and vendors have gone from catering to a lunatic fringe to a respected market. Still, there are major reservations as to whether object-oriented development will become a major force or fade into history. Thank you.